thinking. Now we're freaking talking. That's not how I wanted it to go. We just busted that mother. You gotta be shitting me. What's up, guys? It's Gary. We're gonna be doing a little bit of work on the old Camaro today, and if you don't know, this is my father's car that he owned since 1985. He's no longer with us, and I need to make this thing go down the road. It's got a lot of work that needs to be done to it before it's actually road worthy, but I want to at least, it'll fire up and it'll run. I want to get the brakes working, got a new master cylinder put on it, carburetor rebuild kits, and I want to, in this video, go up the road with it. So stick with me, and let's see what we can do. Well, let's see if there's anything still in here. There should be. It doesn't really leak. It just, the master I think is bad. And of course, I got a new master we're going to throw on here. I forgot to go get fluid, so hopefully I got enough fluid with the little bit that I have. It's bone dry. Well, I guess it does leak. Huh, that's interesting. I'm going to do what I've seen, but basically what Vice Grip Garage does, is how I learned this, is just put it in the car and bench bleed. You know, you don't need to bench bleed it on the bench, literally. You just need to have it set up to where you have the lines going into it for bench bleeding, and then just have it in the car and use the pedal. It's that easy. I have to freaking, I probably didn't have to take that off there anyway. What is that? Going on here? There we go. Yeah, that's rusty. Alright, there's that one. It doesn't. Okay, so those are the only two lines that are still look like they're original. But there's no reason to worry about it. I know they weren't leaking as far as I know. Well, that slipped right in there beautifully. Okay. You know, in hindsight, I probably should have made these lines on the bench. But here we are. So this is a kit I got off of Amazon. Copper line, bunch of fittings. This all came in one box, one kit. And the flare tool. The only thing here I actually already did have, but this is new. This came with it as well. This little pipe cutter. I have one of these already, but this is a brand new one, so we're going to use the new one. Probably sharper. Yeah, because I gotta cut it. It's hard to tell where exactly I gotta cut this thing. Don't want it to be too long. There she goes. Alright, now theoretically I should be able to make about pretty much an identical version of this to the other side. Here's pretty much this guy. Go something like that. Alright. That'll be perfect. And then we'll just pretty much should be able to make, yeah, another one exactly like that. And already, that looks way better, at least from that angle. So I think that's the key. I think I had to put it in protruding a bit, not flush. I don't know if you were able to see me because I don't know where I was, but where's the freaking lens? Yeah, you could see it's a lot more substantial that time. Compare it to my first attempt. So that first attempt, I'm going to try it. Hopefully it works. Guess you pretty much do it until there's no bubbles, right? I feel like there would be bubbles no matter what. Alright, so basically this seat has never been bolted in, but my dad had started making some very janky, I hate to throw him under the bus, but there's some like really questionable things going on here. I actually, funny thing is, I saw the material he used there as part of like a holder in the shed on the wall. Yeah, so you know, he started making some stuff here, and I don't know, this stuff is all really thin and kind of ugly. I will be making, once I get the floor pans and all that done, I will be making an actual seat bracket. It won't be my first one. On my Fox body, I actually had I made a completely custom fixed position seat bracket for a Momo race seat that I had in there, and it came out really nice. So for the purposes of just being able to move this thing right now, which may be why he had this like this, just kind of really temporary, I figured out a way to actually get it bolted in. So these are actually replacement floor pans that are not even currently not even welded in, but he had drilled them, so, you know, well, actually, I guess they're probably, maybe they're already drilled where the seat holes are, and he had them held in with the seat bolts. So basically, I just figured out exactly where these need to be, stuck them back a little further, because my little short legs can't reach the clutch all the way, so I got a couple nuts just to space it up, 2 on that side, 3 on this side, because the floor pan is different on either side. There's nothing holding it in there, and some, you know, just a piece of metal kind of wedging it down right there, just because I had that laying around. I didn't have to put any real work into any of this. Again, this is really, really stupid, and just to get it to go, just to be able to move it around, even just like driving it in and out of the garage here, it is a real pain to do with the seat flopping all over the place, not being bolted in at all. So that'll be how it is for right now, until we actually get some proper work done on that interior with the floor pans and everything. So now I am going to borrow a battery from the truck, as it is the only battery I have. There's 3 on that truck, and they are very, very powerful and pretty much brand new. And they're the only thing that I know that can start this thing, because I don't have any other good batteries laying around here. Yeah, so we're gonna hook that battery up and fire it up and move her on in.
Crikey.
Fucking eyes burn already.
You know it's going to be hilarious if this ends up being a 15-second car?
And it's probably only like a 13, maybe 14, I don't know. It's not going to be that fast. It's got stock heads on it, I guess. I actually was just looking at, I got to look them up. There's a way to determine, there's like 50 different heads that came on these, and it could just have like the best old heads on it, but that doesn't mean they're that good, but I'm going to be able to find out what they are. But I know that it's a 350 block, but that doesn't mean, you know, I don't know what else is done to it. It could be a 383, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to say.
You do a compression test at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, you think you could tell if it's higher compression by by just that?
Well, maybe not. If it has a big cam, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily going to be a thing, but maybe it is. I put a new master cylinder on it. It had a little bit of brakes too. That was the first time I tried it.
Is this torsion bar?
No, it's got coil
the
springs. Yeah, it's got coils. There's like new bolts everywhere. I don't know. You had a lot of shit.
Yeah, it must be new shocks.
Yeah, I believe they're under there, right? Yeah, the shocks.
They're in the coils.
Yep.
Those things are a bitch to put in.
And I don't know what he did. I don't know. I doubt he cut the springs because for me, I think it sits a little bit low. Like, it looks good, it sits low, but it sits too low almost. And then I found some pictures when it was like this after he did the back half, where he had it parked out there, and it was sitting like 2 inches or so higher. So I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know.
Have smaller wheels?
He might have put different springs in it that lowered it. No, it had the same wheels on it. Then
well, they're silver, so they're definitely
they're
aftermarket.
Where? Man, I can't even see them. Where are they? I guess, yeah. I'll have to see them when I see them. But, yeah, they're... Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. And he's got like... Oh, wow. Okay, so definitely he put lowering springs in it. Or, well, there might be like drag springs or something. They're probably... Yeah, I wonder what shocks he put in there.
Probably those, like, jack... What do they call them? 70-30 drag... Or
I would hope so.
10s. How do those work? They have no rebound?
I don't know. I mean, nowadays, like, you put adjustable shocks in. Like, I don't know how the old wheels work. Oh, dude, I can see them, but I can't tell what they are. Oh, and I can see the springs are Summit springs, so they're either Summit drag springs or Summit lowering springs. Oh, sick. They are adjustable. No way.
Nice.
They're... Shit, what are they? Competition engineering?
Conies.
Competition engineering, I think they say race shocks on them. They're adjustable. Dude, these are fucking legit. How do you adjust them, though? You probably have the bottom somewhere.
There's got to be a knob on the bottom.
Yeah.
Maybe literally on the bottom. No, that doesn't make sense.
I can't see exactly. It's hard. This car is like weird the way the shocks are like really tucked in there.
Yeah. They really package them tight.
Yeah, it says. Yeah, it does say race shock absorber, adjustable, drag. I see drag racing. It says drag racing. So good. And I would imagine he probably got springs that were drag oriented as well. And yeah, the rears I think are more or less like they come with, because there's another set of rears right over there. I think those are the rears, and that's a different. You get like different spring rates, and it seems really stiff in the back. So I don't know if that's like what it should be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how a drag car should be set up in the rear. If it should be stiff or yeah, like barely.
I mean, you're also going to add like 100 pounds of fucking metal to this thing.
Yeah, I mean,
plus
after
that
roll
tank.
cage.
Oh, more with the roll cage. I mean, just like the floor pan shit.
I don't think it'd be 100 pounds. I think it'd be like 50, but maybe I'm way off.
Maybe around half tank of fuel, fucking sheet metal.
Yeah. Oh shit. Those are also they're matching. I think they're competition engineering. I actually, if I remember correctly, I think this whole entire rear half kit is a competition engineering kit as well. All right. Well, I haven't even bled the brakes yet, and they were working. Working enough. Definitely a little bit soft on the end of the pedal, but gonna get those carburetors rebuilt. So start disassembling the whatever we got up here. We got fuel lines, hard lines going into here, and the throttle linkage, and then the 4 bolts to take them off. Yeah, I've never rebuilt like a Holley 4-barrel, or to be honest, any car carburetor. I've only ever messed with motorcycle carbs and lawnmower carbs, but they're all the same. They're, you know, a car carburetor like a 4-barrel Holley is there's more pieces to it, and it's got an accelerator pump and a few other things. These are vacuum secondary carbs. They're not really the right carburetors for this setup, but I think once we get them working properly again, it should run pretty good. This thing's never driven down the road with this tunnel ram setup, but it has run a lot better than it does right now. So we're going to get those rebuilt, get them back on there. And I have a timing light. That's why my friend just came over here. I borrowed his timing light. I do not have a timing light. And yeah, I just want to confirm. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we had a timing light on this and maybe messed with it years ago when it was running. It runs good. It fires up, and I don't think the timing is a big issue. I think it's probably pretty good, but I want to know where it's at. I got to start thinking, you know, it's really hard because I still don't think of this. This isn't my car. Like, this is now my car. I am now the caretaker. I am now the person who is in charge of building this. But it still doesn't feel like my car. It feels like everything here is my dad's stuff, and like I'm trying to dial it in and work on something that I'm not familiar with. I mean, I know every single bolt, every little thing about a Fox body Mustang. I spent so long with Fox body Mustangs and building one from the ground up. And yet this is not that far of a jump from that. It's a V8 small block American car, but it just seems so different. Carbureted, small block Chevy, the suspension, all of this is just totally new to me. Even though my dad owned this car since before I was born, and I do have a lot of memories when I was a kid with this car, I just never like learned a whole lot of the details about this car. Now don't get me wrong, a small block Chevy is a small block Chevy, and I know a lot about a lot of things, a lot of cars, and there's nothing really magical or unusual here. It's just something that I'm not that experienced with. So I'm looking forward to getting this thing figured out, getting it all cleaned up, looking right, and dialing it in. I just found out, maybe you overheard me when the camera was still going. I know that I already knew it had some new stuff on it, but I didn't realize it's got new springs in the front. I don't know what they are, but they're Summit brand. They're probably drag springs of some kind. It's got competition engineering 3-way adjustable shocks front and rear. So it's got the stuff. It's set up, somewhat set up, you know. It's getting there, or at least he was getting it there, you know. And I know I was around when he got those parts and probably helped him install those parts, but it at this point was quite a long time ago, and I just don't remember a lot of that. You know, I remember for years this tunnel ram sat, I think for a couple of years, was sitting around in the house, not on the engine yet. And then it was amazing when he finally decided to go ahead and install the tunnel ram and the dual 4 barrels and everything. And you know, still things need to be done with that. The throttle linkage is kind of silly here, some stuff that he set up, but it works. It's just the carburetors don't engage exactly even with each other. One kind of pulls and the other one doesn't quite go. And well, actually, I should say when you let off the throttle, one kind of sticks a little bit or stays open a little bit. Interesting sounding motorcycle. Definitely some kind of Japanese. I'm wondering if, I don't know if it's a V-twin or a V4. It almost sounds like a Honda Magna V4. But yeah, I'm sitting here rambling and I'm not doing any work because that's what I do best. So let's get this stuff taken apart and get it back together. You saw before it has that like big aluminum scoop that goes on here. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know if I'm going to run that or not. You know, I want to make the car. I want to keep the car in the spirit of what my father was wanting. But there's certain things that I will take authority on and be like, nah, that's not right. I don't like that. To me, that type of scoop should be on a blower. I think a tunnel ram setup should just have 2 filters. Or even a different type of scoop, different looking scoop, like more of a mailbox style one. Oh, well. All right, so let's get to work here. All right, this car is way bigger than the freaking Mustang. I can't even. I should have a little step stool. Where is that son of a bitch? There it is. Frankly, I could just get inside the son of a bitch. I actually do want to just get a. I do want to get a new throttle linkage setup for this. There we go. Now we're freaking talking. You know what I just remembered? Isn't there a way to drain the bowl or no? No, I think you just take one of these out to drain the bowl. You can always do that after you disconnect the fuel line. Oh, you stupid. Forgot about that. Well, there's not much I can do about that anyway. Okay. Oh, wow. It's not even that tight. So if that's that bad, I mean, it's nice. Just realized I never hit record, so I got the bowls drained. You just pop the lower bolt out of the bowls. And that drains them. Here's the big question. These things have been on. I mean, it's not like it doesn't just fire up and run, but of course it doesn't run perfect. I'm wondering if it's perfectly clean in here or what, because these things, you know, have been many years they've been on here. I don't know, there's some junk in there. Yeah, there's definitely some junk in there. Those don't come off, do they? Or do they? On roadkill. Tell you what, if I could find a nice set of used double pumpers right now, I'd put them on here. Even if I had to rebuild them, I'm just saying. This side's where the money is. This is where the metering block is. There's only one metering block. So a double pumper has two metering blocks. This, being a vacuum secondary, only has one metering block. Yeah, there's the accelerator pump right there. Boy, is it mighty wet, like it was leaking. Not only that, it's got some nasty. Yeah, it's been leaking for sure. Well, while there's definitely some shite in here. Oh wow, wait a second. Oh no, that's normal. I don't know if that's what they call the power valve, because I don't know if these have a power valve, but there's the main jets right there. Now where are the pilot jets on these things? Those look like screws, right? But they're special special tool required? But I don't know. I don't know if they're screws. I don't know if this piece comes off. It almost seems like the gasket's underneath that. The main jets are right there. And where are the pilot jets? Well, I still got to take the base plate and all that off. Yeah, I don't think that's... Oh, it is. Well, that's interesting. Need special screwdriver to take that apart. That's really stupid. Luckily, I have this just the right size flathead, and it engages, and they're not stuck. So, oh, what's behind here? Oh, great, that one's not going. Oh, come on! Now this freaking thing is toast. Seems like it's bending or spinning the handle. There she goes. Oh, yeah, it's ugly in there. Good thing I got that off. Look at that. Where are you? How do you like that? So there's probably plenty of that through both of these carburetors. So that's actually good. I mean, the worse it looks, the more I'm convinced that this will actually improve the running of this engine. I guess I'll pop those jets out first. Let's see what they are. 64. Seems pretty small. But again, being a vacuum secondary carburetor, I'm not really sure what the right size would be. They're both 64. One thing I'm thinking about doing is taking this choke off right now just to get it out of my way, because I'm annoyed at I don't feel like looking at it anymore. It's kind of silly and it's pointless. I don't need it. Here I am taking the choke mechanism off, which is literally pointless and does not have to be done right now in order to rebuild this carburetor and bring it back to life. But I'm doing it because I want to. There she goes. Okay, so now, theoretically, we should be able to just yank this guy out of here simply by yanking on it. Oh, come on. Man, I don't get it. I know that's how that motherfucker comes off of there. It's just like a frickin' any other carburetor, it just should slide out of there. But it's like really hard to get past that. There she goes. Except that's not how I wanted it to go. We just busted that motherfucker. Son of a bitch. You gotta be fucking shitting me. Well, once again, we weren't gonna frickin' be using it anyway, but did not want to break it. Now, I basically just destroyed that, but it's alright because we're not going to be frickin' using the choke anyway. The whole idea was taking that off, but definitely did not want to break that. Alright, well, I wasn't going to film the other carburetor because it'd be repetitive, but as you can see, I am successfully getting the choke blade out of here without destroying the carburetor this time. Just wedge this screwdriver in here a little bit to pry it kind of past so that it can make it past, and out she comes. there she goes. That is how it's supposed to be done. Ugh. And then, of course, once the yeah, there you go. Now the rod, the shaft, can be removed. No damage done. Again, it doesn't matter because we're not worried about using the choke, but at least it is not broken. Doesn't look as bad. Now, back in the day, what people would do is they'd actually cut this right off. And, you know, cut it right off and then kind of, I guess, maybe even machine it so that it's, or grind it out so it's nice and smooth. You know, nowadays people just buy the high dollar carburetors. Back then, there were no, well, back then I'm sure there were race carburetors that didn't have that, but the low buck thing to do, the average street guy, you know, street racer guy would get rid of that because it actually is a flow impedance. All right, let me tell you something. Getting the gaskets off is always the most annoying part of any job that involves gaskets. I still got to, you know, scrape these and then, you know, do it all over again on the other carburetor. 2 bowls, 2 sides of the metering block. The bottom still has to come off for the base plate. And I still got to take the accelerator pump off, although that should be a pretty easy job there. But yeah, this is really annoying. Little razor blade deal. You know, of course you're going to scrape like that, but a quick tip for getting it off efficiently and fast is to go like that with it. Very aggressively. It sucks still. So, I'm going to keep working on this. Probably just try to get this done and back together. Really, it's the first time I've ever had one of these apart. It is very simple and really not that many parts to this thing. Alright, everything is finally clean and about to go back together. This is still only the first carburetor. Alrighties, we got it. One complete carburetor unit. We got the accelerator pump. So I noticed the accelerator pump on the other one isn't really moving very well, and this one is pretty shot as well. It's pretty dry, so that's part of our issue right there. And yeah, this thing's all together and ready to go. No longer has that big ugly electric choke thing on there, or the actual choke, and it also is broken right off, so all good. Thanks. Nice ride. Where the heck's that guy from? I definitely enjoy getting a compliment on a vehicle, but I also get nervous when somebody rolls up the driveway there. Now, of course, there's, you know, business to be had back there. There's other people back there. He's probably doing a deal with that guy that owns that other property, but yeah, sometimes I don't like when somebody rolls in here and they know what I got. stretched. I thought maybe he was trying to do a deal with the guy or something. Alright, so check out what we got going on here. First of all, I fogged this linkage piece black just really poorly and quickly, and it's fine. Remember, look back in the beginning of the video, it was orange. I don't know why. So, trying to figure out the spring situation here, the return spring. Now, before this was all set up the way it was, I took it into account. I was like, okay, let me get a real good video or picture of the springs the way he had it. You know, he had some springs going between the carburetors, 2 of them going between the 2 carburetors, the linkages. Then another spring going from there to here. Now, part of the issue is this is actually for a return spring, but it's way down here, so it's normally, you know, central carburetor that would be out down in the middle. So the angle is way off, so it actually almost wants to over center, like kind of cam over. The way he had it set up, I don't know why he had, I don't even know why he had springs going between the carburetors. I don't see any way that should be like that. But the throttle pedal was really, really stiff. It was hard to push. And right now, I had it pretty good. So just having this guy, you know, either in here or even right there. We'll just stick it here just because it's easier right now. That guy like that, and this is new. This spring was between the carburetors, but this guy going right to here, which is where the cable is. I want to get this actual linkage piece is just some kind of homemade weird stuff that needs to, I'd like to get the appropriate piece for it. But it seems to work a lot better now. And here's the other thing. Before, when you'd give it throttle, this carburetor wouldn't return all the way. Now, one thing I did notice, it may have not have been a linkage issue, is that the squirter, the accelerator pump on this carburetor was actually sticking. This rod, the actual little actuator on the accelerator pump, I took that off. I knocked the roll pin out, and I actually like cleaned out the hole with a drill bit and got the roll pin back in just a way that it was free, because it was actually binding up on the roll pin. That might have been why the throttle wasn't returning all the way. And also, partially why it wasn't running properly, because actually both accelerator pumps, or, you know, the accelerator pump on either one of these, both these carbs, they were stiff. They were really stiff. And that could have been an issue with the way it was running. But ultimately, now this is going to be better than it was. This throttle linkage is now operating as it should, and the carburetors, both of them are returning exactly where they should. Now, what I'm doing here, what I'm planning on doing now is, even though this is good, it's not great. So what I'm going to do is drill this piece right here, just because I think that would actually just be a better spot for it. When it actually gets up here, instead of it being... Now, another thing is I tried in here, and it's actually even better than here, except for one problem. When you get to here, it actually hits that and bends, and that over time might fatigue and just break. So, and I think that should be good. I don't think it's going to need any more than that. It's got a pretty good amount of preload on it too. Yeah, no harm can be done. I'm just going to drill that and make that work. Now, I'd kind of prefer a little bit bigger springs, a little bit stronger, tougher springs, but I'm good with that for now. I don't think that's going anywhere. That actually, I think that's going to feel 10 times better on the throttle pedal. Oh yeah. I'm gonna make sure it's actually getting full throttle, but that is way better. All right, well, getting real close to firing this thing back up again and seeing how it runs. And I wanted to just take a look at one of the spark plugs because, you know, I may fire this thing up and it might still not take throttle because the plugs are fouled. And I found the plugs that he had replaced a while back, and actually they look better than what's in there. So it had these Excel plugs in, and they basically still look brand new. This is one of the plugs I pulled out. The gap definitely looks too big. I don't know if that plug's like burned up or what. Funny thing is, I only got 7 of these. So I'm going and I'm looking around. I'm like, maybe one of them's still in there. And, yeah, sure enough. Well, yeah, it's hard to see. There you go. Sure enough, the one Excel plug is still in there. So I'm going to pull that out just to see what it looks like. Make sure it's got the proper gap and it's not too dirty. One thing I will say, coming from working on a small block Ford for a lot of years, in the old Fox body, small block Chevy really sucks to get to the spark plugs, especially with headers. So that is a pain. A couple things I did off camera. While I got I actually cleaned up the tops of these air cleaners. They were kind of getting rusty. Ditched the little pan that actually holds this had the little pieces that hold that like Endural style or whatever it is injection scoop. I'm not going to be running that, and it looks a whole lot better without those pieces there since it's not going to be on here anyway. Now, in the future, I am going to take this all back apart and clean up this intake manifold and go through all this and make it real pretty. Clean up the valve covers. Actually, to be honest, I'm probably going to end up replacing them with some other valve covers. I actually have brand new headers for it as well. And I cleaned the rust off of that as well. Oh, and I got a fuel filter on here. So this didn't... Right now, it just has this temporary... It just has this little, like, 1-gallon fuel tank right to the mechanical pump and then fueled up to the rail up there. There was no filter at all. So I figured I just rebuilt the carbs. I cleaned the carbs out. I don't want to send stuff in there. So I had this filter brand new just laying around. So I just stuck that right there for now. That's another thing that I'm going to change a lot of how this is set up. It actually has a fuel cell mounted, but nothing is plumbed up yet, and I don't really know if I'm going to... I have a hard line that I can run for it, but without having the floor in there, I don't know exactly where that's going to end up, so I don't know, you know, if I want to do that. I might want to wait till I do the floor pan and everything before I start running a fuel line. But yeah, I'm going to swap those plugs out, and then we're about ready to fire it up and see how it is. All right. So I got a timing light. After I get it running, I'll hook the timing light up to it, and we'll see where we're at. It's been so long since this thing's been together that I don't know where it was at, if it was set to a certain setting or not. Another thing is, you know, we're going to have to mess with the adjustments on the carburetor. That's something that was never messed with before. They were set. I only checked one. I forgot to check the other, and one was set, both of them at 1 3/4 out. So I set them right back to that same setting. But I figured I'd put them back to where I know it was before. So then we'll go ahead and we'll make the adjustments. Now it's going to be, one thing is, with open headers, this thing is just insane. It's too loud. Like, it's hard to even concentrate or understand if it's running good or not. And I didn't get the mufflers on there yet, so I do want to still, you know, in the next video we'll end up messing with stuff like getting mufflers on it. That way we can maybe help to dial it in. Now, that all depends on what it does now. Is it going to actually run the same? Is it going to pop and not want to load up when I give it throttle, or load into some throttle, take fuel? We don't know yet. Well, I don't have a funnel. I have one somewhere, but I don't know where it is to actually be able to dump fuel down the bowl. So we're just gonna feed her the onions like this. A little bit of that. Just to get her to pop off, and then she'll hopefully, it'll probably only run for a second, but it won't take too long to pull fuel up. Got a fuel leak. Son of a bitch. Yeah, I didn't think I needed to Teflon seal those because they're like a tapered, almost like a brake line, like a tapered deal. But I guess there was a reason my dad had Teflon on them, because it's leaking. So I'm gonna have to probably reseal that. Let me just see if it'll, I don't think it'll snug up any more than that. I'll tell you what, I can already tell it's running better, but it's leaking. I'm gonna have to take care of that before it gets too hot here. All right, hopefully that solves that. I really don't think that's supposed to be Teflon sealed to seal, but because this one I didn't reseal the back one and it's not leaking, so hopefully that doesn't leak. You know, like I said before, this setup kind of isn't the greatest. I don't know. I guess that's not bad, but at the end of the day, if I end up getting different carburetors for it, you know, set like actual double pumpers for it, that would have to all be changed anyway, the fuel line setup. So I got the timing light on there. Let's see what she does, see where she's at. Return springs back on the throttle. major leak right there. I can't see shit with the timing. Another thing is, I'm a little bit so typically on an old school engine, like say you got a vacuum advance, you would disconnect the vacuum advance in order to bring it to check your base timing. There is no vacuum advance on this distributor. It's just strictly a mechanical advance setup. And I couldn't really tell. At first it looked like I was at around 12 degrees, which is right where I want to be. But then again, why would it be... Well, I guess that makes sense, because it only has the 12. It doesn't have like 30 degrees. It doesn't go up to like 30 degrees like some pointers and balancers do. So I guess it is only just showing you the base timing, right? That doesn't make sense though. You should be able to see how much total timing it has. I don't know. I gotta fix it. Why is this freaking thing leaking now? It wasn't leaking before. Alright, here's to hoping I fix the leak this time. Dude, it's running like 50 times better. I can't believe it. I mean, I can believe it. I don't know, you gotta think, is it just because I put those other plugs in there? No, I don't think so. Those accelerator pump diaphragms, they were pretty shot. There was a bunch of crap in those carburetors. I'm really happy right now. That is just so satisfying that actually doing something made a difference. You know, countless times in my life I've done little tweaks and things like that and worked on things, and then you go and it's like, it didn't make a damn difference. That is a difference. Now, in this video, you didn't hear how it was before. You'd have to see the older video. There's a video a while back where I had it right here and I ran it, or actually probably when I pulled it out, I don't know. And yeah, when you'd go to rev it, it would just pop and bang out of the exhaust, and it didn't want to take throttle like that. It's still not perfect because it has those carburetors are not the best carburetors for a tunnel ram. So it doesn't have that, if you really want to whack it, that's when it kind of goes whoop, whoop. But I just did, after doing a couple more adjustments there on the fuel screws, actually it got a little bit better. I got to check the timing again because I think I got the mark on the balancer a little bit clearer now. Kind of want to take it down the end of the driveway and like do a whole shot, but I need to do some more like work in the chassis to make sure that it's actually strong enough to withstand something like that. And there's all kinds of puddles and mud, and there's no fenders. I don't know, I'm actually really pumped on that right now. I'm so happy. Alright, I checked the timing again. I could actually see my mark this time. We are right at 12 degrees, which is perfect, I think. That sounds about right to me. You know, back in the Fox body days, the 302, I would have had that based at about 14 degrees, pushing it as far as it would go. So I don't know anything. Like I said, I don't know a lot about old school small block Chevy. So yeah, I think 12 degrees is probably good. Again, I don't know anything about the curve in this distributor. I don't know if it's got locked out timing. Well, no, it wouldn't have locked out timing because then it wouldn't be only at 12 degrees. So I don't know. I got a lot to learn about this thing. It's got I think that's a Mallory. It's got a Mallory electronic, ignition like distributor. It has to have a specific distributor in it, particularly because of the tunnel ram. So you can't have an HEI. Certain like things just don't fit. And it doesn't have a vacuum advance on it. It's only a mechanical advance, so that's interesting. Now, it can sit here all day long and you can whack the throttle on it. Will it actually go under a load? Will it take fuel and rip? Are the jets too small? It's got 64s in it. They're pretty small, I think. However, again, I don't know anything about this engine, and it has two 600 CFM carburetors on a tunnel ram. So, you know, 64 jets among being in two different carburetors, that might be plenty of fuel, might be more than it needs, actually. So there's not much way to know other than to actually drive it. Now, of course, I know I said I wanted to drive it up the road, but I ain't driving it up the road with open headers, that's for sure. I mean, this thing is absolutely ridiculous with open headers. But I think I'm going to pull it out and maybe just take it down the driveway and maybe back up the driveway. Of course, I got to be careful of the potholes. I'm not going to rip it in the driveway, that, you know, obviously. I might just do a little bit of a... Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what I do. I'd love to just take it up the road. I'd love to go right out on the road and do a burnout with it, but again, I don't want things to come flying apart with it in the road or something. So yeah, let's pull around out of there. All right, well, this sucks. I was just airing up all the tires. the valve stem on this front is actually split, like completely almost. Somehow it's been holding like 28 psi this whole time. If I touch that, it's like... Interestingly, that is actually the second time that that's happened now. That is the old valve stem that was on there. These are brand new, but they're brand new, maybe 10 years old. And this one I already replaced. I think it was last year. I actually took this off and broke it, just broke the bead myself and replaced this valve stem. So the other one now has to be replaced. I think I'm still going to risk just driving it down the driveway, but obviously I don't want to go up the road like that. Yeah, so we're going to have to get that taken care of, but I do want to at least pull it out of here, put it out on the driveway. Kind of also sucks we can't have the hood on there or the trunk, because the trunk, just like the hood, has been gutted completely. There's no structure. The hinges have been cut. You can see he had these Zeus fasteners he was putting on here, and the job he never completed that with the trunk side of it. So I'll probably end up going to that stage, because frankly, these hinges are not easily replaceable. They're like, I think, spot welded in there. I think you have to take this panel off even to get to them. So doing that, fixing that, or bringing it back to normal wouldn't be an option. So it's going to just be the old 2-lane blacktop style. Pin on trunk, pin on hood, I guess. So yeah, let's at least pull this thing out of here. Already out of gas. I basically filled that 1 gallon thing, and it's already out of gas just from that. So this is the furthest it's moved in like 15 years, maybe? No, that many years? Probably at least 10 years since it's moved out of that driveway. Almost ate up a half of that tank already. So you know what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if it'll have enough fuel to go up and back. Probably won't. I'm not going to get on it or anything, but like, this could just literally be the first time this thing runs up the road on this road. I think it might have been 15 years ago, and it was it was 10 or 15 years ago. It might have had the back half done, I don't remember, and I think my dad drove it up there and turned around and came back. But I'm like nervous about it. I want to do it. I don't know if it's going to run out of fuel, and I hope that tire's still going to have air. Frankly, just looking at it right now is incredible. Alright, well, I contemplated whether or not you should watch me drive up the road or go with me. So, here we go. There's a lot more traffic than I'd like right now. Well, I'm not sure that I actually fully laid into it, but it had no power. Hey guys, it's voiceover Gary here. So, you know, now that I've actually watched the video back and I'm thinking about how it pulled and what I did, I don't even think I floored it, first of all. But the biggest thing is the RPMs were nowhere near what I thought. It's hard to tell with the open headers. Like, it sounds insane, and it sounds like it's revving to 5,000 RPM. Well, you can actually see here, look at, I took this screenshot right at about the max RPM I hit when I was in second. You couldn't see the tach when I was in first. And you could see it's only at like 2,500 RPM, maybe a little bit more than that. So it wasn't even coming onto the cam yet. I mean, with a cam like this, you can hear it with the idle. It's got a lot of overlap. It's going to have a lot more top end and definitely lack on the bottom end. So it may need more tuning. It may be running lean. It definitely needs some work. It might not have a lot of timing, overall total timing in it either. But I actually don't think it was performing bad. I think I just didn't actually get it into the power band and actually floor it. So, yeah. You got to remember, too, these are vacuum secondaries. So the secondaries might have not even opened. However, I would still think, even with them not opening, being that there's 2 4-barrels there should have been more power. So maybe it's running lean. Maybe those jets are too small. Maybe I just didn't floor it, because frankly this pedal is still really stiff. Hey, it's running cool though. It's actually running really cool. Ran cooler as I drove it up the road, to be honest. That was kind of interesting. That was definitely weird. Yeah, I want to go back again just because I'm not sure if it had power or not, but I got to put mufflers on this thing, and frankly we need a little bit more car here if we're gonna be, hang on. Yeah. I was actually kind of concerned about going up the road because I was scared rocks were gonna shoot up at the window. That's why I went, like, super slow at first. The whole thing just drives really strangely. I should actually check to make sure there's still air in the front tire, although I think there is, because it didn't feel that weird. It didn't feel like it was pulling really bad or anything. Wonder if my friend Ryan's home. He lives right up there. Yeah, still got air in the tire. Oy, oy, oy. You know what's weird? I almost feel like disappointed now, because now I gotta figure out, is this engine just sound like more than it is? Or is there a bunch more tuning to do? I'm gonna put my money on there's a bunch more tuning to do. Figuring out, you know what else? I don't know what the curve is in the distributor. There might have been no timing whatsoever. As far as, we know we got 12 degrees base timing, but we don't know what's going on after that. Might need more jet. But frankly, other than that, other than it seeming to have not a lot of power, let me turn that fan off so it's not so noisy. So other than it seeming to not have the power that I was, you know, when I first like started stepping on it, going up the road at first, I thought, okay, it feels like there's a bunch of power here if I give it more throttle. But then when I took off, I was having a really hard time. You hear me like, whoa, 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 because this throttle is so stiff. It's still really stiff. It's better than it was, but it's hard to like modulate the throttle. And there's a really long, even though it actually has steep gears in the rear, it's got 456 gears in the rear. It's got a really long first gear, I noticed. So it takes a little bit to get it going. And with that super stiff throttle, I was having trouble because I didn't want to like overdo it. But at the same time, I was so tempted to just straight up like rev it up and launch it. But no, I need to do what I did, exactly what I did. I need to roll into the throttle and see how it actually feels, what kind of power it has, if it needs anything. Wow, I really parked almost exactly where I was before. A little bit over, but yeah, so I don't know. Of course, that wasn't a real true test, because I don't even know if I truly floored it, because I kind of was a little bit nervous to floor it, and I didn't want anything to go wrong. So this thing, even if it did just not quite do what I was expecting, I can't believe I just went up the road with this thing. It's been off the road, like officially off the road, hasn't been driven by my dad in probably 30 plus years. Nah, yeah, Oh yeah, actually, definitely. No, wait, I'm not that old. Probably 25 years. 25 years since it's actually, like, driven. And then in its current configuration with the back half, he did that, like, I want to say he started doing that about 10, 12, 15 years ago, somewhere in that neighborhood. And like I said, the only thing it's ever done, really, is what I just did. Like, one time, he drove it up to the post office and back after getting it to the point that it is right now. I'm, like, kind of shaking a little bit. I want to go again, because I want to put mufflers on this now and actually go up the road and see if it has power and see if I could make it have power and tune it. I don't have any, like, jets or anything, though, so going as far as that would be a whole different thing. Now I just kind of want to get, like, some double pumpers on there and make it really do what it's supposed to do. So, okay. This was a late upload because I was working on this thing. It's Sunday right now, Sunday noon, afternoon. I don't even know what time it is right now. So, frankly, with the amount of time it takes to upload, I don't know if this is going to be out this evening or on a Monday. I hope if it's out on a Monday, you guys are still watching, because I'm really happy with the results here. I couldn't even give it, you know how it revs real cleanly now? That wah, wah, it wouldn't do that before. So now I'm actually really happy that rebuilding those carbs made all that difference in the world. And I even know maybe throwing those other plugs in there made a difference, but we don't know because we didn't try it with the old plugs. Why would I? They look like crap. So anyway, subscribe if you like this. If you like any of the other stuff you see on the channel, feel free to go back and look at that stuff and decide if you want to subscribe. I highly advise it. Like the video, whether you like it or not. It really helps. That's what I hear anyway from other YouTubers. And I love hearing from you guys. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. Give me tips if you want to, because I'm not a big carburetor guy, but I'll put it this way. I used to have a Fox body. It was fuel injected. There wasn't really anything you could do. It was what it was. I have jetted and tuned other carburetors, like on my tractor and my motorcycles and stuff. So I know what it's all about. I just have never messed with anything of this caliper. So let me know if you guys got anything to say about it, what you're thinking. Again, I don't even know if I hit full throttle. Man, I just gotta keep on rambling and rambling. I already started saying to subscribe. That was supposed to be the end where I say thank you, and now I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it all again too. Subscribe, like, comment. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. One more thing we gotta do before you guys leave. How much fuel did it use going up the road? Yeah. It's still got like an eighth. I don't know, pretty low, but basically that was it. Full tank, got it out of here, down the driveway, up the road and back. So, I'll see you guys next time.